Alright, I'll start with the EVAP delete. So when you originally open up and remove the airbox, there's a ton of stuff between the EVAP canister and also the solenoid, all the air hosing for that as well. I mainly bought the EVAP thing just so that I could get this new mount little 3D printed piece. And then you get the dongle that plugs into there, and then turns out that they don't sell a kit that works with this. They changed this plug this year apparently. So the plug that comes with the kit, where you get that new mount, is it's the wrong plug. It's this. So I didn't send it back because I still wanted to use that piece, so it is what it is. And then so you just have to keep this part, plug that back in, and that mounts to the bottom of the air box, and then those are a couple of the caps that for some of the hoses you get rid of. So it is what it is for now. It's kind of a small piece, it's not that big of a deal. And then when you're running the tune, though, I guess you could get rid of this whole piece. So I'm about to put an exhaust on right now, so I may or may not put this back on. You'd want it on just so you don't get the check engine light if you were bringing it back to the dealer and you throw the stock tune on there for a minute, even though you have a aftermarket exhaust. So I'll probably just gonna throw it back on just because, since they don't make a new dongle. And I did actually rip this thing apart to see how easy it would be to then one of these things came out and one busted off, so I don't know. I may try to make my own, but we'll see. And then the other thing is, when I've had this on for, I think I installed it probably early on, like when I only had like 200 miles on the bike. Now I'm like around 1,300 or 1,400 or so. And when I pulled the airbox off, when I unscrewed this screw, this whole piece came loose and the bolt and everything fell out. So it was like dangling under there. So when I re-put it back, reinstalled it just now, I put some Loctite and I cranked it down good to make sure this thing is tight. So just FYI, make sure you put some Loctite in there. And then let's see what else. So the solenoid. Oh, also the other part of that is you delete one of the drain plugs on your fuel tank. So I've seen another guy, he used one of the stock fittings that came with it, but it was a weird 90-degree angle. But I picked up, can't see it very well, but I picked up a little a Y piece. And then these clamps work good down here because the Y piece is really tight on the hose, but the hose fits perfectly on the bottom of the tank, and the tank pulls out really easily. So I added these to crank onto the tank really good. So it's easy to access. When the tank's on, you can see those, and I don't know. So that looks better than using that stock little reused whatever stupid angled part. And then you can see that Gabra thing, good shot of that. And I actually, believe it or not, I actually have got a couple check engine lights since I've installed this thing. I'm thinking potentially maybe even just the wiring from here, that the wrap on the wire makes it a little too rigid, and if that could maybe loosen it up a little bit. So who knows. I've got this permanently velcroed in there. I can plug it in or not plug it in. Got this wired to battery charging. Got those little nut cover things. My battery, I don't know, might be a bad idea, but my battery is actually velcroed into the bike right now from two sides, and there's a Velcro strap going like that. So it's held in there. it's not gonna come out. I just really don't think it is. So let's see. So when I did the pair solenoid delete, which is this guy right in there, I got that part so that I could essentially get the dongle. Here's the dongle right there that plugs in. It's the, we'll just say Jetprime or something on there, yeah. Got the Jetprime dongle. So this is, there's a ton of crap in here. And this is like the only hose that you end up keeping, which is kind of like your crankcase vent hose, which goes into the airbox. I had it plugged back into the airbox, and there's another one into the airbox that comes out that you delete. I had this one still in there. I'm probably gonna not reinstall it when I put it back together this time. I'm gonna cut that back a little bit and then use this little thing. Most other bikes, not most other bikes, but a lot of other people do things like that on their vent hoses. You can see inside the airbox here, that's where the section where the hose comes up in. It's got that little thing there, and then you can see right there it's actually open so that any oil splooge that splooges out of your hose comes up into here and it goes into here, and you're gonna have splooge in here sucking into your intake. So it's not the end of the world. I mean, it is a factory design. Pretty much every bike I have, they all design them like that, and then most people just take that hose out of there and block off the airbox. So you can see here, that's, I've got both of those blocked off there. And then when I first did it, I still had the exhaust on, so I was able to just get the dongle mounted and then take off all the hoses. While this was still mounted on the bike like that, I was able to just put a cap on it, and I got that clamp and the cap on there. And then I had it just because I didn't want to take it apart to get that blue piece on. But now that I have everything taken apart, it was super easy to get the blue piece mounted on there. So it came out pretty good. Let's see. A little dark. Here's the two plugs that go to the lambda sensors. Those guys. And then this is something, so this is for that Jetprime switch. They give you this weird assembly that goes onto here to hold your key in, and it doesn't stay clipped. I had to tape it on, but I think this time I ended up just tie wrapping the key in there. And it's going to be smaller for stuff floating around inside here. And they have you cramming it in there, so it's better, especially once you get the airbox completely off, to get it mounted up in here and tie wrapped in. This was actually, I had a remote kill switch. I took it off right now, but it was this switch right here, and I was having problems with the switch. It was doing some weird bad connectivity issues with it, so I took it off. I've had this same switch on my daughter's little Honda trail bike for a few years to get rid of the key, and it's been working fine. So I don't know why I didn't like this bike. I think maybe it didn't like the heat or something, but from where I had it. Yeah, so that's what I did there. than that. I'm trying to think what else, if there's anything else while I got it opened. But yeah, this just looks way cleaner. There's a whole pile of hoses that came out when you do that pair solenoid dongle and the EVAP delete. So it just looks a lot better in here, a lot cleaner.